I thought it'd be really worthwhile producing this video ahead of the portrait workshop, and we're going to look at something that's really foundational, and it's learning and drawing the structure of the head. And it's really important to get that right. One of the things that you shouldn't do when you're painting a portrait is paint eyes in, paint a nose in, paint a mouth in. I know you'll see things on YouTube doing that. It's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it, as I've advocated if you've been to any of my classes, is to think sculpturally when you draw, which means getting the basics in place, getting the structure right, and moving towards detail. So hopefully what happens as you build the correct structure of the head, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the features will just take shape. Now, back in the day, traditionally people would learn anatomically the skeleton, so they would learn the skull itself and all the bones, the way the bones work. We don't have to do that. Again, something I've covered in classes is this Andrew Loomis method of learning a very basic version of a skull, which is literally a ball with a jawbone on it, and then this head can look at you, it can look up, it can look down, it can look to the side. We've got a center line, we've got a line going across the middle, which is actually the eyebrow and not the eye line, but we'll cover that. But to begin with, we're going to make it even simpler than this, because we will remove the jawbone. So all you're going to have to do to begin your painting and correctly position the head where you want it on the canvas is to be able to draw a circle, and then depending on which way the head is looking, to draw these dividing lines, and we'll go through that now. Okay, so I've slightly speeded this film up just to so it doesn't go on for too long. So the circle, again, this is just positioning the head perfectly where you want it, and then looking at the model, you get that center line in, and the eyebrow line. Yeah, now you can just carry that ellipse around with your drawing. Can be good practice to do that. Gives you a sense of form. Now, if this was looking front onto the model, what we want to do is slice off just the temple area of the skull. So that would be flattening off here. And on this side, obviously it flattens a little bit, but it's the offside, so you don't see a lot of that. And from this point down, this center line will drop down, because obviously that's where the mouth, the nose, and features are gonna sit. Always look at the model as you're drawing these structural things in. Try and see the structure within the model. Within the model's head. So again, you'd be looking at the model, you'd take a view as to where the jawline drops down to, remembering that it goes to about the middle of there, and remember that that middle line, although you're going to read it as an eye line, it's natural to do that. It's not, it's the eyebrow line. So let's get the eye line in there. Yeah, so this is the eyebrow line, and the eye line is below that, so that's there. Now, the next thing is quite a key thing within the structure of a face. So if we imagine the eye sockets of the skull, this bone that's underneath, this bone here, is really important to the features and structures of the model that you're drawing, and you have to try and see that line, see that structure within the model. You know, on athletic people, on very, you know, lean faces, it's more prominent, this. But this can be high, it can be low, and it's what often leads to that high cheekbone that people can sometimes have, is this bone here. Yeah, so, and you can drop verticals down from that to give you this flat plane here where the mouth and other features are going to sit up onto. So this is really key to the likeness, and the top of this, from experience, it's good to draw it as this kind of curvy frown shape for now. Yeah, and then down from there is where it drops down. And the eyeballs will sit within that socket there. And now, because the bottom of this cheekbone will protrude, and you'll see that on the off side. Take a punt at where you think the nose is. Again, this is just observational by looking at the model, and likewise with the mouth. And already you can see the structure of a face taking shape. Now the ear usually goes from the eyebrow, top of the eyebrow, to the nose, but it varies. So again, you look, you know, be careful to look at the model, and you'll start to see this structure really taking shape of the head. Important to see all those things. It will stop having this structure will prevent that horrible thing where nearing the end of a drawing or a painting you realize that the face and proportions and symmetry have all gone wrong. This will help stop that happening. Now I'm going to rub this back to show that on top of this then you start to observe and define things. You start to, you know, but everything should still fall on top of this structure that you've done. You're not going to drift off this, but you're going to see nuances in the shape of the nose, the angle of the nose. Think something that's really useful to start to drop on at this stage. I mean, you could just paint on top of this stage, but it gives you more of a safety net to do more of a drawing. Something that could be useful is to start to drop shadow areas in, and that can be useful with the drawing, but to see those shadow areas as shapes, as jigsaw piece shapes that are sitting on the underdrawing, the structure that you've done. Side of the mouth there, now this protrudes here. Again, on very athletic and thin people it's more obvious, and that's to do with cartilage that is sat either side, a muscle that is sat either side of the mouth. You can see it really clearly on the thing I'm drawing of, because obviously this is like an anatomical muscle model. And then as I drop these shadows in, you can immediately see the face is beginning to take shape. And as you look at the model and drop these shadow shapes in, you'll really start to see the likeness begin to pop and emerge from the drawing. And this way of building the drawing and letting the likeness just take shape by dropping in the correct positions these areas of shade and of light, it is absolutely the way you should be approaching it and the way you should think when you're doing a portrait. You're not drawing eyes, noses and mouths. And the benefit of this underdrawing, this structural form that you've got, is that it really helps you to see where that dark triangular shape goes, where that little bit of light area goes, these jigsaw pieces of tone. So there you go, that's the main structure of the head, the basic structure. Obviously, once you've put that great foundation in, it becomes what it always should be about, which is observation and refining and looking at the model and putting what you see in terms of shadows and shapes on the model and putting that on top of the structure you've done. But really the basic structure is going to be the same, and it will really help you for that initial stage of of getting the proportions right, getting the symmetry right, getting the position on your canvas right. I will be doing a worksheet to go with this, but if you want to Google in the meantime the Andrew Loomis head, Andrew Loomis, that's what this is. This a simplified anatomical structural head to underpin your drawing. So I'll send you those worksheets and I look forward to seeing you on the workshop day.